to the Hive. I'm Christian Rivera.
And I'm Darian Sorrells.
Today's topic will be focused on speaking up.
And we'll even hear from a teacher leading the school club.
A student's perspective on the LGBTQ plus community.
And we'll even play a game about placing situations on the pyramid of hate.
All this coming up on The Hive. So when I was in 4th grade, I kind of had an experience with bullying. One day on the bus, I was being called a bunch of names, and they were really just making fun of me, and they started throwing trash at me. It was really just, it wasn't great. It was a really bad experience.
Did you stick up for yourself?
No, to this day, I haven't really told many people about it. It's kind of just something that I've had stuck in my head for a while, and I haven't been able to really, ever tell anyone. I've just never told anyone about it, and I feel like now it's just too late. I'm in 7th grade now. It's been 3 years.
Why didn't you go to a counselor when you had the chance?
I was just scared that maybe if I told someone that they might find out and they might get even more mad at me. But now I realize that it's probably it is better to just tell them, because if they do, they'll probably get in trouble and they won't be able to mess with me anymore.
Well, hopefully, if that situation happens again, you go to the counselor, you go to the AP or something and tell them what happened so they can get in trouble for what they did.
Hi, what's your name?
Julie, Miss Carolyn.
And then what are your pronouns?
She, her.
Okay. So why did you decide to create your club?
Actually, I started my club when my very first year at Keeling. Students asked me to.
Oh.
Some students knew I was an ally, and they came to me and they said, "Can we have a rainbow club?" And I said, "Absolutely." And also, it's an issue that I've been working on for years and years, even since I was in college.
Okay. If you're okay with sharing, what do y'all usually do in discussing?
No, I'm glad you asked. Actually, mostly we just talk about how everybody is. We check in, we talk about what's been going well with kids, maybe what they've been worried about or thinking about. And then sometimes we'll watch, there are a few cartoons that have LGBTQ representation in them. We'll do that. Sometimes we just eat Skittles. And then sometimes students will bring up things that are in the news about LGBTQIA plus issues.
Okay. What do y'all usually discuss about news? Are a lot of kids in your club very proactive about that?
Some are and some aren't, but mostly they like to know what the new legislation is related to LGBTQIA issues, issues in AISD, things that are going on with bullying, things like that.
Yeah. And then do you think that bullying is kind of one of the main reasons why kids maybe come to your club?
I absolutely think that. I think there is still, in 2022, a lot of anti-LGBTQIA plus bullying. And I think that kids want a place where they feel completely safe, where they feel like everybody in the room acknowledges them and understands that we're all completely different, and that's not just good, it's not just okay, but we celebrate it.
Do you see a lot of bullying toward the LGBTQ community in Keeling and maybe outside of Keeling?
I do. I see a lot of it in the news. I see a lot of it in the legislature. I see a lot of it with adults toward children. And it does happen on campus, and I try to encourage students to report to their teachers, report to their counselor, talk to a trusted adult about any bullying. But I also encourage students to try to educate their friends about the issues, because I think that middle schoolers are still growing and learning and have a chance to learn to be kind to one another.
Yeah. And then how do you think, personally, how should it be, the situation be handled, and how do we make sure that it doesn't happen again, bullying?
I mean, I think that if a student is being bullied, that they absolutely should talk to their parents, a trusted adult, and a counselor about how they should handle it personally, all of the emotional stress from it. I also think that adults need to be more aware of what's going on so that they can advocate for students. I think that we all need to be educating kids and adults as much as we can about how using people's pronouns keeps them safe, keeps them mentally healthy, and just about how to respect one another. and it kind of goes past LGBTQIA plus issues to kind of everything.
So like basically speaking out about all of it so more people are aware. And,
Yeah.
Yeah, and then what do you think should happen to the bullier? Like, what should they get any punishment, or should they just be like have knowledge about that? So
Well, I mean, obviously, it depends on the level of bullying. If someone's being physically harmed, right, then that's an issue for the administration or police officers, teachers to handle. So it's on an individual basis. If someone's calling someone else a name, the first thing I start with is, why did you do that, right? Why are you calling the person this name? What do you think this name means? Why would you say it to that person? What made you do it? So that they can understand that what they do is harmful. Sometimes people learn things, especially kids, learn things from adults. They try language, they're trying things out. I'm not excusing them, but we need to educate them first. But we also need to protect the people that are being bullied. So it's obviously on a case-by-case basis. If it becomes much scarier or more dangerous, then adults have to handle
Thank you.
that.
One more question. What do you think probably is like the main cause or the root of bullying, maybe towards the bullying?
Ignorance. I mean, I think people don't understand. I think that there's a lot of misinformation out in the world. And I think that people, that's a good question. I mean, I think that the things we need to think about are, why do we disrespect anybody? But then also, why does it happen particularly to LGBTQIA people, right? And what are the misconceptions people have about them, and making assumptions about the way people live and what they do and how they behave. And I think the biggest problem we have is when we other people, when we make it seem like people are so different from us, and we're all really just trying to do the same things every day. Get up, go to school, have a happy day, have friends, those kinds of things.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, could you say your name and spell it?
Yeah, Leah Lashes, Leah space Lashus.
And what's your pronouns?
She, they.
Okay, so we just have a couple of questions for you. First one, LGBTQIA plus members are often treated differently because of their sexuality, gender identity, etc. How do you feel about that?
I think it's really demeaning because their sexuality and gender identity almost is nothing about them. It is an important part about them, but it is just the surface of their identity. And to make that a big deal and just treat them solely on that one part of their identity is, I feel like, just really dumb, because it doesn't really like affect other people very much. So I think just judging people based off of those things isn't really a good thing to do ever, especially if it's a bad judgment.
So for our second question, do you think there's enough LGBTQIA plus representation in our modern society? If not, what could we do to make sure everyone feels represented?
Yeah, I think it was terrible before, but I think in the last 10 years, we've gotten a lot more representation. But I think it only, again, scratches the surface on the entire LGBTQIA community. We have a lot of representation for lesbian, gay, bi, some for non-binary, but that's not all of the community, and I feel like sometimes we're represented well and sometimes it was represented not as well. And I feel like if we had just more representation for more specific types of sexualities, or just different types of gender identities and sexualities, I feel like that would be way better at representing than just representing 3 different parts.
So pronouns have become a way for people to express their identity. It was one of the first things I asked you in this interview. So how do you feel about pronouns in general?
Yeah, I think pronouns, because gender is kind of like a made-up construct, it's not actually a scientific thing, it's just something made up. I think to be able to decide which gender best fits you and represent that with your own pronouns, I think that's just really freeing, right? You get to be whoever you want to be, whoever you feel. And I think that's really important for people to recognize, and I think it's a really important part of any person's identity. It's not hard to remember somebody's pronouns. It's not hard to make sure that you use that pronoun. If you do mess up, that's okay. You can just correct it.
but I think pronouns are an important part of somebody's identity. And for our last question, do you think Keeling has supportive representation of LGBTQIA plus members? Yeah, definitely. We have like AISC Pride Week. We have a like Pride Club. We have like murals and posters and flyers everywhere about like supporting LGBTQ, being allies and being part of the community. And I think that Keeling is doing a really good job at representing LGBTQ people. Yeah, I completely agree. Thank you for coming to this interview.
Today's Hive Mind is all about the Pyramid of Hate.
Okay, so the Pyramid of Hate is how we can sort different acts of bullying, whether it's just something like being non-inclusive to larger scale things like actually murdering someone. So these are just different ways in which bullying can show up and how fast it can increase.
The different levels of the Pyramid of Hate are, starting at the bottom, biased attitudes, acts of bias, discrimination, bias-motivated violence, and then at the very top, genocide. Which, if you don't know what that means, that's like the act or intent to deliberately and systematically annihilate an entire people.
Yeah.
So here's how our game works today. We're going to have 3 Keeling students place actions on the Pyramid of Hate based off where they think it goes. So what do we think about murdering people?
I think that's pretty bad.
Yeah,
I'd say that's pretty bad too. So, but like, yeah, that's pretty bad. Not respecting someone's pronouns. I think it's not a good thing to do, but like compared to like murdering someone, I'd say it's lower.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, so what do you think should be? Calling someone an idiot? Dude, no way.
That is up there for sure.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
that is like,
I think it should be on the bottom, if I'm gonna be honest.
hurting someone because they're different. That is not cool.
I agree.
And I would put that up there.
The death threats is pretty bad, so.
Yeah, because it's close to, yeah.
So, yeah, the second one or the third?
Yeah.
Mass
Oh,
massacre
that's
of a
not
group of
good.
people.
I would say
I'd say that's
the
the
top
top,
because
because
it's more than
pretty bad. A lot of
Yeah.
people.
pretty much.
I think it just means like hurting someone without having like context and stuff.
Oh, that's not chill.
Well, I think
I'm gonna put maybe.
maybe the third. Yeah, that's not like okay.
Being non-inclusive, that is not cool.
But it's not like
It's not like
Word.
endangering
Yeah.
people's lives. So,
Probably the last one. Probably.
really?
I'd say like well, cause
Well, no, I would go with second.
This one?
yeah, okay.
Okay, fair.
Okay, so I think either the top one or the second one.
Yeah.
I think
Also, because it's like
The
more of a
second one.
specific thing. It's like
yeah, I
yeah.
agree.
Second.
Okay.
Yeah,
No,
no one's
like-
being harmed and no one's being like
It's just like hurtful.
Yeah.
specifically targeted. It's
So maybe like the
and also, it's not like anything anyone's doing now exactly. It's more of like a something like just problems that were made or things that were done in the past that kind of trickled down.
yeah.
So we can put this.
And then a third one?
Okay.
Thank you for watching The Hive.
Make sure to tune in next time for a new episode.
Until then, see you, boys.